strategy to the game.
Let's get professional. That's what. Yeah.
I'm so Nigerian.
Yeah. Look, man, ain't nothing better than
What's
a
wrong with that?
I'm married.
What's your?
I'm married in
And I
Nigeria.
saw that tweet. I'm coming back.
Everybody was just Nigerian.
I haven't even watched the series yet, but I was triggered.
Talk about it.
I was triggered. I was like, no. I don't want to reignite the battle, but
That shit was just nonsense out of nowhere. I just thought.
What? I even saw you trying to get Dave in beef as well.
This guy. One people trying to get David.
With Donko. And he was like, oh, this is Dave speaking. And he was like,
I said in the end, I said it was me.
oh, did you tweet from your page?
I do most of the tweet, like 99.9%.
anything on the social.
I thought most of your own personal. I don't know why. I just
No. That was the Nigerian one.
Oh, okay.
Was my own personal.
Anything from our socials is Jordan.
I believe it.
Bro, I'm not even logged into
I believe it. I believe it. Jordan just likes to
but
trigger.
that tweet, I was watching. Obviously, I was watching Blood Sisters. I'm only on episode 2, so if you guys watched it, don't spoil it for me. And then this guy just was like lips in his mom, like whenever he greets her. When I full on, like he's like kisses are a bit too long on the lips.
Like, bro,
This is great.
stress, brother.
Jesus.
That's good,
Stress, brother.
Teach me.
That's what the babes like. You know
Eat
what they
banana,
call it? Salt and pepper, innit? That's what.
Teach you.
Eat banana, innit?
But yeah, the guy was lips in. I just thought it was like part of the culture because they're Nigerian. I was like, this must be part of their.
If that's
I don't know, man.
Wait, just so
I'm
you
just
know,
asking.
Just so you know, if that's part of the culture, that means your son is going to be lip-syncing your wife. You know that. I hope you know that. Yeah.
That's up to her to teach him. That's up to her to teach him.
Okay, so you'll accept it? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if I'll accept it, but I was watching it and I just heard. I was like, oh, this must be part of our culture. That's why I tweeted it.
Wait,
do
you guys remember what's his name? When Biscuit was slapping his mom's bum.
That's not
Imagine you come into the kitchen, yeah, and you see your son do that. You're like, we gotta fight.
That's the square.
It's just
You actually have to swear.
it's just actually no. That whole thing is weird.
And the way it was brushed, let's go back to that. The way it was brushed aside, like it was nothing.
But that's how the internet works, man. We get mad about something 15 minutes later.
But I wonder what his boys would have said.
Yeah, in that group chat, man, they'll be flaming you.
How long?
If you're allowed to do that to your mom, yeah, the group chat, everything goes in the group chat.
The thing is,
The thing is, it all goes. That's rude.
he posted it. It wasn't hacked.
Do you know sometimes I sit down and I'm like, you posted this. Like you thought this was cool.
Unprovoked.
That's like when at least when fucking academics they said he said he was hacked when he tweeted bad titties of some bad baby has some mad titties for a 15-year-old, and he said he was hacked because that's what you have to see.
That's what everyone be saying. Oh,
That's what you have to see.
The funniest hack was Offset. I like men now. Alright, Offset.
Anyways, we're back. It's strategy to the game. We're still the podcast with the highest level of analysis that the culture needs. It's Uncle J with.
You know it's your girl's favorite voice. Nigga with the Midas touch.
See?
It's different when you hear it in person.
Like, imagine,
You know what's funny? We can never ever get through an intro. Anyways, Big Ditch.
It's a future boy Big Ditch, and we got Oman's very own
Go Peasy.
He brought gifts.
Wait, no. Okay, this guy's trying to win an award or something.
He brought
because
gifts.
he came with a fresh trim. He came in all white.
Look at the
and he got
look at the
gifts.
tracksuit.
Like,
Look at the watch. Look at the watch.
she was blinging in her eyes.
Listen, you have to put your best foot forward. You have to charge it to the game.
This is the standard now. Everybody that comes on pod, click this here. Everybody that comes on pod, we expect gifts now of high quality. How much was this? €50. He said €50 for the bare minimum gifts on this podcast. Anyways, we got up
80 still.
Well,
But
what's going on, brother?
Not much, bro. Thanks for having me.
Actually, I wanted to ask this. Remember when you man started Oman?
Yeah.
There was like
There we go.
a crew of you.
Blazing Squad.
It started with like 8 man.
Blazing Squad.
Who's in, like, what's in that?
What is Oman?
How many people left? Because at one stage it was like 9. You know Wolfgang where Tyler and all them came out?
Bro, man, these guys used to do subs.
Yeah.
These guys used to do subs. Okay, this guy.
You 4 people will do this episode. You 4 people do this episode.
Listen,
what
you
was Oman now?
know that saying, we all gotta eat. That was the mentality back then. But obviously, as time goes on, only a certain people kind of see the vision and just life kind of. We're all still friends, like. But in terms of the commitment, I'm sure you guys are noticing in terms of this podcast thing can be a lot sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I won't lie, I was getting tired of the tag Blazing Squad and all these, like you said, 14-man deep squad. But like, yeah, it was just, it started off as like a group of friends just coming together, chatting shit like we usually do. And back then, podcast wasn't really a thing. So we literally just got a mic. Thank God for Simba. We got a mic and we just started recording. And then over time, like people couldn't make recordings for one thing or the other. So we cut it down to like 4. So at the stage, it was just me, Simba, Dami, and Yemi. Sorry, and Toyosi, so 5. And then you had the subs, Shay and Sam. But now, old man is just me and Simba.
Okay.
Well, we're now taking a leaf from your book and we're rebranding. So we're coming out with a rebrand soon. I don't want to give the tips yet in terms of the name. But
You guys signed in any new members?
any what?
New members.
Nah.
Just the two of you now.
Just me and Simba. Just me and Simba.
It's not a real rebrand. You have to get cupcakes. That's when it counts.
Don't worry, we get the whole shebang. You think we didn't see your roll up? You think we didn't see your roll up?
All the cupcake counts. Well, yeah. Anyways, welcome to the pod. Anyways, we're at Charge to the Game. So every week we do a segment. It's called "What Are We Charging to the Game This Week?" And we talk about just our week, life in general, what else you may have taken this week that you want to share for the pod. So
I'm ready.
You want to go? Okay, good. Why are you charging to the game this week, Ditch?
So, anyways, Monday was my birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, bro.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And I traveled, and I came back. And I came back to my car. You know, you park your car in the airport. Cool. I came back to my car. My car is like, happy birthday, did you? Check engine light.
Jeez. When you see that one, did you fall on your knees?
Wait, no, that wasn't even when I fell on my knees. And he was saying, you need engine oil. I was like, come, let me go to the...
Sure, there's a petrol station just across.
I was like, let me go to the petrol station, pop in some engine oil. As I was driving, when you slam on your brakes, and it goes really hard. I was just trying to slow down, and my brake I felt like I had to break my legs so I can slow the car. I was like, okay, all right. It has no power, no nothing. I was like, you know what? Just charge the game.
Yeah,
I almost fell on my knees.
Wait,
Circle K.
You're saying that was on your birthday?
The day after, when I came back. So my car was like, happy birthday, babes. And
What are you charging to the game this week?
Me? Woo! I got 2 charges. First one is the Nigerian embassy. Yeah, you lot, yeah? Fix up. Cause I saw 3 different fights. And it wasn't even about like anything serious. It was just out of sheer frustration. That place, man. I remember, got there at like 1. There's people that came from Galway. They were there since like 6. And they got, I was there at 1. I got seen at 3, connect. And I was done by like 4. They were there all day, bro. And they got seen and they got told, they didn't have the right documents.
Gee.
Bro.
Why is the
I
process...
fell down on my knees for them.
Why is the process so like... Why is it like that? What is it about it that makes the process so...
I think they're just on
strange?
vibes.
Yeah?
Jordan, you're married to a Nigerian, right? That answers your question, no?
But the thing about Nigerian embassy, I've been hearing about how bad these guys are from before I even knew what an embassy was.
But the thing is, it's all Nigerian embassies. Apparently, it's worse in Canada. It's worse in UK. Like apparently, we have it good. Do you know how I knew it was fucked up? Niggas were celebrating that we had water and biscuit.
Jeez.
They were like, oh, at least we have food this time. Because they'd be waiting there all day and they wouldn't be seen. And the thing is, if you leave for to go get food and they call your name,
That's it.
Come back next year.
Jesus.
That's how deep it is.
So you just have to sit there and firm it. So that's what you're trying to the game.
Bro. No. What's the second one?
Second one, heritage, inflation prices.
Oh,
prices went up.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, my missus was saying this as well.
Up. 4 items. I paid €50. I had to look around to be like, who did I rob? Who did I offend?
You know what? As you say that, Charlie's.
Yeah, that's
I got Charlie's. Inflation.
Don't say aloud Charlie's. The quality has gone down.
No, I said I got Charlie's the other day, and the inflation is mad, and the quality it's not like maybe I need to be more drunk or something.
I think it's the night out that makes the quality for us. I since we've stopped going out,
we just grab it. If you're like I wasn't even out. I was just at like a comedy gig, so I wasn't like at optimum drunk. Party drunk and yeah, I'm just on a good vibe, and I'm eating. I'm like, that's nice, but
it's not hitting.
It felt like it used to hit more back in the days. What am I charging to the game this week? Oh, I forgot to charge this ages ago, but I was fucking driving and then I'm on the motorway. The toll is coming up. I'm like, calm. I take the easy pass exit. It says beep, then the thing goes up, and then it malfunctions and it comes down as I'm driving, and I brake. I'm like, what the fuck? I brake, and I hit it. Because in my mind, I thought I was like, this is metal. It's foam.
Yeah, no, okay, that's
I was like, but in my brain, I thought I was about to die.
I talking about the M50 where you're like
no, like like a regular toe.
A regular toe, and then you take it easy, and there's like still a barrier.
Oh yeah.
And the barrier went up, but then it went back down.
And you're saying that's foam?
It's foam.
Yeah,
it's not a metal bar.
I can't remember what happened to me, but something similar happened to me, and it dropped on me.
Yeah, no, I mean I try to brake, but like obviously I'm going at a speed where I don't make it on time. And do you know that ones when you see you turn the radio down and you drive home? It's like, deep your life. What the fuck just happened right now?
That is so true. Even sometimes when if I'm trying to park in a spot that's a bit too tight, turn off the music real quick.
Yeah, well, I actually did a course. Obviously, like I started a new job recently, and they tell you why that happens because when you are thinking quick, you have to do it like when you're thinking slow, you have to stop everything else. Say if you're like walking really quick and someone asks you what's 2 times 2, you can say 4 and keep walking. But if someone's asks you what's 40 times 17, you'd be like, you have to kind of pause. Yeah. So that's why your brain has to slow down. So that's why even if it's not making like, I thought that's probably the only thing I've learned in this new job for like so far in this new job.
Not to die.
How to just you think quicker. I actually wanted to ask you because you've been saying this for a minute, and I want to talk when you come on the pod. But you think UK rap is better than US rap?
I think that.
I didn't say that, but I get the argument.
Well,
and here's my opinion.
Okay.
I think the UK music is just below in the sense of like when we start comparing. Mm-hmm. Reason being is these, especially, okay, here's the analogy. The US scene has a lot of music, a lot. But a lot of rappers that we also know that are mid, like quite mid. Forget the Kendricks, the Coles, the big guys, but they're mid rappers, let's say the B-list.
Who would you classify as a B-list rapper?
Jack Harlow.
Okay.
My humble opinion, the Baby. I don't think
the Baby's a mid rapper.
The Baby, no. If Cole, Kendrick, Drake,
they're the big guys.
Then the Baby's not that level.
So Jack Harlow, the Baby. I don't want to say Lil Baby.
Lil Baby's like in the middle. Yeah. It's like he's not there yet, but he's separating himself from the rest.
I throw Gunna in there. But yeah, those guys. But then you get, let's say, the UK scene, the MIDI rappers. I won't even lie, just top of my head, I put Young Bane against any of them.
Young Bane against Da Baby?
Yes.
Young Baby.
The only thing the Baby has is his flow.
Well, where do you classify Roddy Ricch? Let's see this.
Ooh. I like Roddy Ricch.
No, that's what I mean. Is he?
He's mid though. He's mid, especially on his last album. His last album wasn't great.
So you think Young Bane and will take Roddy Ricch?
Okay, Young Bane was a stretch. Young Bane was a stretch.
But overall, I get the point you're making, and it's actually not as wrong as I thought it was.
Yeah, but like, okay, so let's talk about the UK versus US music. In terms of culture, who do you kind of vibe with more?
Because we're close to the UK.
Why?
We're closer to the UK.
Is that only reason?
It probably, if we lived in, let's say, maybe, I don't know, where is close to America?
Canada?
Somewhere in Canada, would probably be majority. I know Toronto vibes with the UK scene a lot. But outside of that, I would assume it's very influenced by the US scene.
I want to hear what you said before.
I obviously, yeah, because we're closer, right? But I also just think the quality of music that has been, like, if you take away fans, right? Because I feel like fans and numbers are what really has set it apart. If you gave the UK scene the same money that the US scene has, it's crazy. Like if you go through like a lot of music that comes out of the US has been mid recently. Like I found myself listening to a lot less US music unless it's like, if Pusha T comes out, alright, cool, let me go listen to that. If this comes out, I'll go. Like if Kendrick's gonna drop in like 3 days, I'll go listen to that. Do you get what I'm saying? But I'm not just if I'm just throwing on a playlist, I'm going to the UK, man. Which, like, if I want to listen to some drill, some rap, some whatever, like the lyrics are better. Obviously, like I vibe more with it because it's stuff that I'm like, oh shit. I remember I was listening to D Block Europe and he was talking about my niggas in Lewisham. Oh shit, I'm in Lewisham right now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what
relatability.
Like you can be in Lewisham or even like you can be Stratton and you'll be like, oh, this is what Dave is rapping about. So
okay, I get that, right? Now let's talk about who's better, the UK or the US?
Let's define this criteria. When you say better, what are we talking about?
If we're talking about rappers, the UK has better rappers. Like the
ability
of rapping.
Okay.
Like when we talk about rap, they have it. When we talk about
who makes better music within the genre of hip hop,
because they created it, obviously.
Honestly, I still think
I think
US
the
takes that.
when it comes to who makes better
And
music
in terms of
genre of hip hop,
the US. In terms of defining culture, yeah, we can give it to US. But like they just said, that only comes with like fads.
It's the sheer amount of numbers.
Man, RCA Records, man, they basically started the record labels back in the day, and that's based in the US. Atlantic Records only moved to the UK a couple of years ago. That now, what's his name? Wretch32 is the creative director. Why Wretch32? Because he's one of the best. Do you know what I mean? But UK are still like what 10, 20 years behind. So when I see the argument, when you hear some of the UK stuff, you hear the intentionality in like J Hus. What rapper is like J Hus in America?
J Hus is in his own. We always say J Hus has but you could say that J Hus is a really good example that you used to in this argument because he has such a specific niche sound that nobody else does it. But when you listen to, if I say drill, you find that sound a lot more. J Hus, this J Hus is an example. I'm like, yeah, I can't, because I would agree. He's like, it's kind of when Lil Wayne started rapping. Nobody rapped like that. So everybody would rap with bars, Jay-Z, Eminem, they always bars. But when Wayne started rapping, it wasn't just the bars. It was also the mannerism, the style, and the delivery.
The punchline.
Yeah, the punchline. Nobody rapped like that. So in terms of Hus, he makes a sound. I agree with you. That sound is like, it's like unique to him.
And you say that to him. There's more like that in UK in terms of unique. H. RD came, but RD can't do what H does, and H can't do what RD does, and RD can't do what Central C does.
So you feel you get more range in sound within the UK than you do in the US. Whereas in the US, what I feel, you do get that range, but it's in a different manner. It's like Atlanta has a sound. New York has a sound. LA has a sound. It's kind of more region based and area based.
But that's once again, it's just like even this. You can say the same thing about the UK. Like the people from like Millions and them has a completely different sound to like the likes of Dave. And once again, it's a lot of it is money. Like imagine you gave Dave the same budget that you gave Drake to make an album. What he will come out with will be insane. Whereas the Lil Baby can just pop off in his hood and like pop off in his state, and he's on the same amount of money as like I can't think of someone here, but like he's on like a Krypton Conan.
In US, if you're big in Atlanta, you can be you're millionaire, and you're just big in like. But that's the thing; those states are as big as nations. Literally. Do you know that kind of way? Like the state of California is just as big as
It's a country.
Yeah,
it's a country. Like it has its own laws, everything. It's a country.
Like your point's actually like very it's really high.
I was ready for you, bro.
But my thing is, like you said, in that top end. And we can argue about infrastructure. I agree. Kanye, Cole, Kendrick, Jay, that like all of those. I think the top end compared to who's in the top end of the US of the UK market.
Wretch,
Dave,
Stormzy. But I think the US in the top tier is levels above, and in the mid tier, there's arguments to be made. If Gunna, Lil Baby, Future are all the mid-level rappers. Compared to the HRDs, there's conversations. Yeah. So I think if the top it's much better for me, and the middle is a competition, then the US.
But I also
the US is a better market that produces hip hop music.
But once again,
I don't want to give it to you.
Once again, it's peas, bro. Yeah. I'm like, okay, this is the thing, right? Let's look at the likes of let's take Kendrick, right? Let's take Kendrick and Rich. Do you get what I'm saying? When we're talking about lyrical ability and stuff like that, Rich is a bloody genius. Yeah. But he doesn't have the same infrastructure and the same amount of fans and stuff like that. So if I'm talking about talent here.
Sorry to cut you short. Skepta throwing in there.
Yes,
no. But in terms of talent of rapping, that's a different argument.
Okay, I'm talking about talent.
Pusha T is probably, I think Pusha T in terms of just ability to rap,
that's an example.
Is probably one of the best rappers I've heard. But he's not as big as I think when it comes to ability to rap, it's better than Drake at rapping. Okay, but it's not as big as Drake. It's not as big as Drake in terms of overall making hip hop music, if that makes sense.
Okay, let's through this perspective. We're talking about the big guys here, but the big guys like Kanye, Cole, Kendrick, them man, they had people that they can draw source from.
I
Kanye
agree.
had Jay.
Yeah.
Who else? Cole had Jay.
There was Nas, there was Biggie.
There was people that had already done it. But whereas Wretch and 3-2 that's them.
No. And
that's them.
I get like the argument you guys are making is very valid in terms of P's, in terms of that. Like it's an example of what people say. If Gerrard, for example, I always use football analogy, it's easy. If Gerrard was in the Chelsea or the United teams, he would have won as much. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he wasn't. So we have to look at it for what it is, even if it's unfair. But like, if I think Gerrard was the better of the three midfielders in terms of just playing football, but I don't think he was the greatest because you have to take into account what they won, how much they scored, and you could be like, yeah, but if he was in those teams, he would have won. But he wasn't, so we can't really make that argument. You can say like, yo, but they don't have P's. That's fair. When the P's get there, they will level up. They're 10, 15 years behind. But I'm looking at it as for what it is right now. I think the top guys are so much better. Not so much, but I don't want to disrespect David Stormzy or whatever. They're a lot better than the other top guys in terms of like just if you do an average. And the middle guys, like you said, they can compete. So I would lean towards a US market, personally.
Question. If the UK top guys had the same infrastructure as the US guys, would you say the UK then would be better in terms of making better music?
I think it'll be closer because I think Kanye's best hip-hop musician of all time. So I don't think anybody that has in the UK that I've seen. Maybe Dave. Give you that. Maybe Dave has that talent. Maybe Dave has that level of talent.
But you need a level of madness.
I also think
and creativity and like in production and like I think Kanye when it comes to producing, rapping, putting sounds together, he's great to do it. We know. I don't know if UK has that level of talent. I would say Dave maybe because he's so young and so seasoned that I don't know what he's like. He'd be capable of.
Like 16, bro.
Yeah. So I'll give it to Dave.
RIP to Jamal Edwards, but I grew up on SBTV and Dave was one of like the first, not the first, but I used to watch F64 bars and I watched Dave's F64. Could not believe he was 16. Like, and he was rapping about his brother who was in jail. And then when I listened to Psychodrama again a couple of weeks ago, bro, it was literally like a letter to his brother, and like his artistry it's sick. But just to see what he's done in the last 6-7 years, he's next in terms of taking UK to the
I agree.
To the US. But maybe last question on this: if you have someone like J. Cole, you know his content, and you have someone like Wretch 3-2, similar enough in terms of
like style, story, like rapping,
That's what I'm saying in the sense like.
If you
strip away infrastructure, put them in the room.
I agree because in that sense we're talking talent for talent. That's fair enough. Like the Gerrard analogy. If you tell me Lampard, Gerrard, talent for talent, I'm telling you Gerrard is the better player. But if you tell me let's look at what they've done, and I get what you guys are saying, it's maybe not a fair comparison because he had leadership. He was signed by Jay-Z, one of the greatest hip hop artists of all time. He had New York. He lived in New York City, so he had the infrastructure where hip hop is like kind of born. He had the infrastructure. So obviously, it's what we always say about like white people, for example, as black people. You have a head start. You're starting over there. I'm starting over here. I have to catch up and then pass you. Whereas if you just maintain that level, I'm never gonna catch up to you. So I don't like explaining it in person. I actually don't. This talent for talent, yes. There's definitely talent in the UK.
I just wanted you to see my perspective. Yeah, he was going off with me. Saying,
I just thought you meant in terms of like when he talks about making hip hop music. Like, I always say I don't think Kanye's the best rapper, but when it comes to putting it all together, I don't think anybody does it better than Kanye. Personally,
can I ask you guys a question? Are you guys fit? Like physically fit?
Good question.
Because this is why I was thinking about. Don't ask me why I was thinking about this. I was thinking about the bleep test, right?
Yeah.
I hated that thing.
That thing was the most annoying thing
for like
ever.
a year. I had a PTSD of the bleep, man. But yeah.
Nah, what do you guys think? How do you think you do on the bleep test today?
No, I played football the other day, like last week for the first time, and like they were telling me, there's 4 people, so I'm trying to like interact, engage, do plays, and they're like, oh yeah, trying to gas me. I'm telling them, like, look, I don't think it's a question of ability because I used to be all right. I just think it's a question of like how long can I keep moving without stop. I go out, I start outfield, they put the other black guy on the other team so he can guard me. they separated us. So then I'm like, first 10 minutes by touch, I'm like, this is kind of obviously I'm playing against slower people because they're older and they're Oimbo. And then
what? First 2 minutes, black man is breaking your ankle.
Yeah, you know that one still. 10-15 minutes later, I'm lying down on the ground, relaxed. I'm in goals. I'm like, so why do people choose to go out and do activity? So right now it's probably the most unfit I've been, but because I don't explode. When you do treadmill, you feel grand. But when you do explosive movements, it's a complete different feeling. You're like, nah, this ain't the one.
When acceleration kicks in,
you have to slow stop movement.
It's actually more effort on your body than just running on the treadmill.
It's exertion. So I don't think I'm fit at all.
I think I missed the bleep test.
Yeah, we did. You know what? There was always one person. There was always one person, because you know the bleep test. Well, in my school, when on PE when we're doing the bleep test, it's like after you guys are done, you can just play football in it. But there was always one person that was doing too much. Like they'll keep going. It's like they're on like 6, 7. Everyone else is stopped. They keep going. I'm like, bro, who
are you trying to impress, man? There's no scouts around here. Like, what you know?
I went to an all boys school as well. I'm just trying to show you, man, that he's the guy. Alpha amongst the pack.
We just wanted to play football.
I remember there was a guy. I actually played football with him. He plays for Wickham, actually, Darren Horgan. Went to secondary school with him. This guy, every bleep test he would complete it.
Like, wait, it finishes?
Yeah, as in.
I didn't know it
finished. Yeah, bleep test finishes. Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
The beep, Galway.
Oh, you grew up in Galway?
Yeah, I'm from the west side of Ireland.
How was it?
It was different, man. You guys called those village boys back then, but like, it was good.
But then everybody went to college then. Like after
exactly, digital. You always lit.
Well, to be honest, I lived in Toom when I first came to Ireland.
Did you fuck?
Yeah, I swear to God, I lived in Toom.
Toom is a village.
Bro,
you grew up in outside. You grew up in Galway.
When I tell you, outside was just forest.
There's a bit of houses now, but yeah, it's still forest. Like, but yeah, my story is weird. So I grew up in Dublin. Like that's how I know most of the people. I grew up in Lucan up until secondary school. Moved to Galway for secondary school. Stayed for college, and then moved back to Dublin.
It was one of them things. Obviously in Dublin, we had black people here. In Galway secondary school.
Bro, me and my nigga Tobago, shout out. It was only us two, man. Us against the world. Like there was not much black people until third year, in secondary school. Then Kennedy and Tim came in. I think there was like 4 of us up until college.
How was your accent though?
I was grand. From the west of Galway.
Have you guys ever just thought about like being like, because obviously like a lot of the places we go to we're the minority. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever just been like thought about, imagine just being somewhere and just being like, everyone is black, so I'm just a regular person here. Like I'm not the black guy.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't know how that feels. It's actually funny that we would know how that feels. That where you're just somewhere and you're like, I'm just one off. Like everywhere I go.
In Nigeria, the minute I touched down in the airport, even though it was hot, I just felt like I was home because all I saw was black. Like it was just black.
Let's actually ask this. You've been back. When you're in Nigeria, do you feel like this is my home?
Yeah.
And do the people around you? Because obviously I know people that are African and they go back to their countries and they tell them you're the European kid. So they feel like rejected by their own people when they're home, and they come here and they tell them you're black bastard, and then they feel rejected.
Like you have no home.
They feel rejected.
That's me, bro. I actually feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you feel home in Nigeria?
Yeah, I don't know how.
But how often do you go back?
That's the thing. That time I went back, 2017 was my first time going since I moved to Ireland.
Okay.
And I haven't been back since because of COVID, which is why I'm going to go back in July. But for me, especially around that, I went in 2017. That was, let's be honest, guys. We weren't really proud of being from our home countries growing up, right? It was more of like an identity thing that I think now we're all comfortable being from where we are.
Americans, they want to be African Americans until Wakanda came around. And they were there for 400 years. But yeah, go on.
Literally. But like, yeah, I was just going through a phase where like, oh, I love being Nigerian. Like, I love Afrobeats, I love Amala, I love all this stuff. And you get home, you're seeing roadside suya, you're seeing poverty. Not that like, oh, I'm proud of that, but it just shows you how real our parents had to like work to get us here and the things that we take for granted. So when I say home, you know that thing that you're connected to like your roots and all that stuff. I never really used to believe it. Jay also even said, if you don't know your roots, you're worthless. Not that everybody's worthless, but it's like
cancel him.
Cancel Jay. But it's like you need to know where you come from in order to know you. And yeah, that's why I felt like it was home, because bruh, like you said, I was just seeing loads of black people go into restaurants, black customer service, even though customer service is shit. But you know, you're seeing your own people, and yeah, it just felt like home, man.
No, there is definitely.
Do you go back home? You.
Me? Oh no, I've never been back. But out of everybody since we've been here in 2002, only my dad's been back. Even my mom has been back. But she's at a place where her mother and all her family live in France and Belgium. So the most.
That's new home, isn't it?
Yeah, the most home I felt is like literally a street in Belgium called Matonge, where you go and it's just Congolese people in the markets, restaurants, barbers, and you're there, you're just walking through the street here in Lingala, left, right, and center. And you're like, that's probably the most, like, little taste of like what it was to be, because they're just comfortable amongst their people, and they're drinking the Fantas you would see at home, they're eating the food you would see at home. So that's probably, and in a way, going to church and being in a Congolese church all my life gave me like, okay, there's a sense of like community and identity that has never wavered or has left. I don't know if the case or like, people don't have that community at all and they grew up and they never go back. I don't know what happens, because I could hear Congolese banter or Congolese music and I know what it is without ever being back, just because I still had that community.
And that would help you with your journey in terms of like finding who you are, because you had that early on to have that experience. But a lot of us wouldn't have even had that experience, you know, growing up of going to like where a community where it's just us. Like a lot of people go into the white community and now they identify as like that's who they are. And
like I say this a lot, and I was saying to my brother, I was like, the older I got, the more I got detached from the church, but because of all the bullshit that comes sometimes we're going to the church. But then I understood what it did for our parents. When you're so far away from your people, it's easy, we're kids, we can integrate left, right, and center, but when you're so far away from your people and people that look like you, talk like you from your environment, there were people that weren't even holy or didn't even believe, but they would come to church just because they know there's people there that are going to speak Lingala, there's people there that are going to understand me. And I was like, if any, like, obviously the church does a lot of things for people, but the one thing I said it did for a lot of people, it gave them a sense of community and belonging. Because sometimes even me, I'm like, I haven't been to a church in ages, and I don't know if it's because it's something spiritual or if I just want to be amongst my people. Sometimes, you know, that kind of way.
No, but that is the thing, because like even like going to like, okay, so when I went to Galway, I didn't know anybody. Like I literally went by myself. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's one of those things like, yeah, obviously you meet people in college or whatever, but if you really go somewhere and you want to meet people, bro, find the church, bro.
They will tell you, for the 4 years that everyone that was in Galway, church was the motive. Like, we had motives, but it was like a link up for some reason on Sunday. Because
we one of your church ones, they gave me bread or something.
Food.
Yeah.
You tell me every Sunday.
I do remember.
Why were you there?
When I'm telling you,
I actually remember that.
Muslim men are coming to church.
They'll
come to church for food, bro.
Food, and there's people that look like you, speak like, and like, even if they don't speak like you, they speak like your mom. Like if you don't speak that language, you're like, when you hear that, it's like it reminds me of home.
And let's not cap, like, especially in church, if the music is good, people are like, forget, I'm not gonna lie, my dad's a pastor and I don't be hearing what he be saying. I'm there for the music. And it's like, that's a universal thing. That if people recognize good music. So good music, good food, good vibes.
Good vibes. I always say this. I always say Congolese music greater, and it's just because I grew up on it. I don't even know if it's like really good, but when you hear music, especially when you hear gospel music in your own language, it does something different.
I give it to the Congolese for gospel.
It does something different.
The guitars you use.
That's spiritual. That same instrumental.
Spiritual.
Right? That same instrumental you hear for circular music. That's it.
We praise Jesus with this.
What was I going to say to you?
I was going to ask.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, did you guys see that Kendrick thing? I'm actually seeing your side on this Kendrick thing, you know. His music sometimes isn't just digestible.
It's so
artsy, and you have to really watch it and engage with it. Sometimes, especially when it's the first single of an album, why can't I just like when Pusha T played Diet Coke? I just played it. I'm like, it's a good vibe. But with Kendrick, I'm like, he's changing faces.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm like, because he's changing faces, I have to listen to the lyrics, don't I?
I have a lot to say about Kendrick.
My thing with Kendrick, like, look, love Kendrick. He can rap. He can do everything he can. But it's just my one problem is that, like, bro, man, sometimes I just want something to flick in the playlist.
It's heavy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like when was the last time on his last? I think Damn is probably the one that you could probably go to the most. Damn, Good Kid, Mad City. But the other two, bro, when was the last time you can even go back to that music?
I didn't even go to Good Kid, Mad City before Damn because that had more digestible songs. But I'm not gonna cap. I'm not a Kendrick fan. Like he's like you said, he makes great music. He does it for the culture. We know his rapping style. Okay, I don't know if fan is the right word because I do listen to his music, but like what did you say? Like, bro, I'm not trying to read a thesis. I'm not in college, bro. Like Simba said in an episode that he doesn't listen to Cole anymore because Cole raps at him. Kendrick raps at him. I can't stand Kendrick because, bro, every day they're killing a nigga and you come to, I'm like, bro, it's not every day about like black violence and your brothers.
Nah, I hear it because when it dropped, and I was like, okay, first, because for me, I was like, I think Pusha's probably gonna have the rap album of the year for me. But let's see what Kendrick does. And I see this and I'm like listening to it, but then I'm watching the video and seeing faces change. I'm like, I have to see the faces change and then pay attention to what he's saying. Usually what artists do is for the first single, it's something you can vibe to that will make you like say, oh, let me go hit that music and see what else is on there. But with this, I'm like, it's just too hard to digest on the normal.
Once again, I saw another story and blah blah. I'm telling you, I'm not seeing it again in a week. Like, and that's the truth. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, okay, even look at Giancarlo's single, what's called? First of all, mid album. Like, I couldn't even make it through.
I couldn't listen. I didn't listen. Since you said that, I didn't listen to it. Bro, I don't want my heart break.
It was a bunch of samples and mid shit. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's kind of like I hear that everywhere. I hear it on TikToks. I hear it here, and I'm not saying make music for TikToks and shit like that. But Kendrick's music isn't something like if I'm walking down the street, I can't see someone driving by and be like, oh shit, that's new Kendrick, innit?
Kendrick makes music for people that like follow Dr. Umar and them kind of people.
Oh god.
Us niggas that are trying to after 9 to 5, you now want to read another thesis?
Because I remember I saw you, like your rant recently on Kendrick, and Deji's been saying this for a minute, and I've always been like, yeah, I see what you mean, but then that kind of
I'm telling you, and look, I'm seeing people say, oh, he's standing on the left side and he's beating. And
I saw that.
I was like, brother,
you don't have time, man. Like, I saw a snippet of Joe Budden's podcast, and he was like, oh, the boogeyman's here. Oh, the Candyman, the main rapper is back. Oh, Chelsea.
No, Liverpool.
Oh. But the main, I was like, yeah, he's good. Like,
it stands out because, like we're saying, the mid rappers, the Gunners, the Rowdy Rage, the Baby, their sound is so similar that when you get some quote unquote conscious music, and where Cole has found a good medium now, like Gage was saying initially, he used to make that kind of heavy music. Yeah. Now recently, he's found a nice medium about like he makes it digestible, but also heavy.
London with
Look, sometimes like this is my thing. Yeah, sometimes just come out and pop your shit.
Yeah,
that's it. Like,
Flex
it. Like, what's called? When it comes to like fucking problems, Kendrick, bro, you're not touching that. What Mad City Kendrick?
They said she eyeing me like a nigga don't exist because I is an imaginary number. Like she's eyeing me like a nigga don't exist. I was like, did he mean that or did we just put that out here?
No, okay, don't get me wrong. I like shit like that. Yeah, I like punchlines that get me there, but not all the time, bro.
I don't need to like. I'm trying to study and I'm trying to listen to music. I'm not trying to study what you're saying.
But it's still
study music instead of
do you get what I'm saying? Like it's just like sometimes like I like people being on their artistic shit and all that. Like one of the reasons why I fuck with Dave so hard, is because he'll come out and he'll give you a Hangman or a 7-minute Black, and then he'll come out with Strayman and say, "Look, I'll still kill you."
Come out with System or come out with Lazarus.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like I like the
diversity.
The diversity. Do you get what I'm saying? But I was gonna ask you guys, take it back to your childhood, what's the most problematic cartoon you've ever watched?
Oh.
And first, I'm gonna start with Powerpuff Girls. Those 3 little girls were terrorists. What they did to Mojo Jojo on a regular basis is nothing.
See the guy that attacked, what's his name?
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, they say they fucked him up like Mojo Jojo.
And you know what? That's actually where I thought about it.
All I saw was bandage.
Those girls, like, they would leave his brains hanging out every single time.
It's not even that. It's like Professor X, bro. Get your children, bro.
No, wait. Also, why is a grown-ass man making little children?
Yeah, he created them. Hey, Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
We need to have a word.
21, that's not gonna fly.
I know even that.
Girls. 3 little girls.
Sugar, spice, everything nice.
I remember actually watching that with my sister when she was younger. Do you know how many many innuendos we be putting in kids' cartoons? Kids are just not catching.
I rewatched Simpsons. Maybe Simpsons might be my most problematic.
Yeah, but I think Simpsons is more for adults though.
Exactly, but I didn't know that as a child. Do you know what I mean? I was rewatching it earlier on this year. I'm just catching on how horny Homer was half the time. Nigga was always trying to smooch Marge after fucking up. This nigga would fuck up and trying to smooch. And then he's like, he was a good dad, but sometimes he was just like, if I was Bart, I get it. I get it. Nah. Lisa, the smartest of the family, can't even go to fucking jazz school. Nah. Maggie can't talk. Fuck.
For me, it was
Maggie's out here murdering people.
She shot Mr. Burns, didn't it?
So Mr. Burns and Smithers, come on. what the fuck's happening there?
They're definitely others. Like it's confirmed Mr. Smithers is gay.
Oh, okay.
Mr.
Oh no,
Burns,
it was confirmed that Smithers was.
Yeah, but Mr. Burns,
one of them was gay, definitely.
maybe he's holding on for the.
Maybe it's fluid. It's 2020, whatever year they made it. You know how sometimes they retrospectively like give them their sexual orientation. Like recently, I heard SpongeBob was gay. I was like, when did they? Was he always?
I thought he was supposed to be asexual or something.
See, like they just out of all this, I was just watching SpongeBob.
You get what I'm
But
saying?
later on, they're just like, that's him now. Like, all right.
If anyone did, I thought it'd be Squidward.
Why Squidward?
Because he's just moody. He doesn't like people around.
Cancel him.
Oh shit. Anyways,
You know what else? You know who else? Yeah, Johnny Bravo. That man.
No, that guy was a creep.
First of all, he taught us to just only work on chest. That's all.
No,
and just move to everything.
Oh, in the Me Too, that guy had no chance in the Me Too. He would just the way he would just approach and talk to, and he never collected one though. Why was that the premise of the cartoon, and why did it work as a cartoon?
I don't know.
This kid
it was a typical American job
kind
shit.
of.
You know what I mean? I think like
cringy.
Yeah, a bit cringy, especially like not getting rejected, but it's
He
like,
got rejected on regular.
on the regular in the sense like
I think that's
the
what
game
made
was
it.
whack.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what made it digestible because they use his rejection in humor, even though the way he was approaching and talking to like to women, it was like a bit weird. But then they spun it in this.
The way we're dissecting these cartoons, I might have to call out some
Bro,
producers.
if you go back and watch a lot of things retrospectively, yeah, you just because I was actually thinking about it. The only thing retrospectively that nobody would cancel is Vince McMahon because even though he did fucked up shit, we love that stuff. Everybody I hear talk about WWE gets hyped.
It was actually one of the best periods of my life.
Facts.
But if you watch some of those plot lines, you'd be like, how did no? Vince, nobody's even gone back to cancel him.
I think the funniest was when Randy Orton like RKO'd one of the like the female wrestlers and like nothing happened.
Female wrestlers you get beat up by the guys all the time. Like it happened base.
That's what I'm saying. Is that no?
Look,
especially the plot lines. Like, did that have anything to do with the plot? To get beaten at the end of it?
But even with that, back then the female wrestlers were a joke. Like they were just like
they're like props.
It was softcore porn. It was literally soft. Like
they do brand panty
it's
match.
like Meg Stallion to rap.
Oh, wait, what? You don't think Meg can rap?
No.
Damn.
I never know. Like I was on the hype of like, oh yeah, she's the best rapper because of her ass. But let's be honest, like.
Okay, apart from Nicki's obviously the best rapper. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think Cardi has flow.
No, Cardi. Yeah,
Cardi's good. Cardi. I'm trying to think. No name, but
what's called
doesn't really.
Lato.
Big Lato, yeah, she's
yeah. I was watching. I was watching what's called. I was watching 2.5 Men. Yeah, because I didn't know what mulatto was until the whole mulatto thing happened.
What happened?
Like what's called her name is literally it's like a derogatory way to call someone like mixed race, whatever. So that's what mulatto is, isn't it? So that's why she changed her name to Big Lato. So I was watching it and Jake is going to school and he's going to school and they're like, oh, there's gonna be the blacks, gonna be whites, blah 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 blah. And like he's like, if there's a race war, he's like, Jake's like, what should I do? He's like, tell me you're mulatto and you'll be fine. And I was like, so this is what we're doing.
Oh, okay.
Like,
hey,
but when you start watching shit back, you start finding all this kind of shit,
bro. And
funny is my wife and kids. When Junior was wearing, like, they were throwing out stuff, and Junior was wearing an outfit, like, you look like a gay insect. Like, you can't say that in this climate.
that I always say this, and that's why we don't get as good as comedic content as we used to, because
niggas are bitches.
You have to be flagrant to have good comedy, and people have to be able to be like, you're gonna. And it's not sometimes not even the actors. It's like, as an executive, I'm not gonna sign up on this. This one's on air. Who signed this? Who gonna say Deji?
You know them ones.
Sack him.
Yeah, they're the ones that are getting sacked.
Yeah, now you lose your job and all that just
before you get Chris rocked.
What you guys make of comedians actually getting attacked and slapped and all that?
I don't get this, man. Like, we're living in such a hypersensitive age where, like, people are taking offenses where, one, it shouldn't be taken. And even if it is, you're now physically assaulting people. Isn't that a crime where I come from?
No, it definitely is a crime. I don't like going to, I think it's even like the guy that went to a Dave Chappelle show with the full intention of attacking Dave Chappelle. That's some real ass.
You see the weapon, bro.
That's some real ass hate. I saw the weapon. That's some to leave your house to be like, today I'm paying for these tickets. I'm plotting and I'm gonna attack this guy when I see him.
They bent that man's arm back like a chicken wing, bro. Like they finished him.
Then the price is not even gonna get charged on felony charge.
How do you even get that in? to the building. Like,
you know that Twitter video
where is that
check it?
I was at a comedy show actually recently. Maybe it's Ireland. The checks weren't really like this. They weren't great. Maybe because it was a comedy show, and going there, the crowd was generally older.
Let's
they
be honest though, the people that are checking, man, these guys they don't give a fuck about that joke. They're just there for the pee, man.
Yeah,
because if I was there, me too.
If you make me stand at the Tree Arena, I'm like,
bro, come in.
Yeah. So is that a nugget?
Yo, my boy, that's like a nice little 20. It's like, don't worry, mister.
At the comedy gig, obviously,
how was that actually? How was Ramsey Noah?
Trevor Noah was actually a lot better than because obviously we were about to take it in 2019. So
you were one of them.
Yeah, so obviously they got cancelled for 2 years. So you don't even have the motivations to go after 2 years ago, 2 years later. But I'm like, you know what? 70 quid per ticket. Let me just go, and then I can say it's date night. So when they call me up, we haven't done date night in ages. I'm like, I took you to Trevor Noah.
Smart man.
I took you to Trevor Noah 2 weeks ago.
This is American.
Man's planning already.
But like I said, comedy is probably one of my favorite my favorite forms of art at the minute, because they can be truthful, but because they make the truth digestible in humor, even if it comes out fucked up, people are laughing and they can digest it. Whereas if you're sitting on the podcast and you say Meg Thee Stallion is only good because of her ass, people are gonna be like, oh my god, so whatever. But if you make it funny and you put it in this comedy bit, the exact same punchline, it works. Even one of the true jokes he made is like, we beat the pandemic. Not even just because we beat it, we just got bored. Like it just because of boredom. After 2 years, people were like, let's go. That's what it was. But the way he puts it and the way he makes it digestible, and you can talk about these politically
serious topics.
Different serious topics about like vaccine, pandemic, and how the government's handled it. But black and white people, and you're like, everybody's laughing, so it's a good time.
That used to be comedy though. Like if you look at the days of like Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor and
Chris Rocks,
even Dave Chappelle, the early days, like they used to talk about political shit. Shit was happening, but they made it funny.
Yes,
and it was the climate for that. But even Dave Chappelle, that's kind of why he left the whole kind of scene. And we didn't see Kevin Hart was running the stand-up scene for a while.
It was on every
Michael Che and all that, because his funny was that it wasn't political. And then when he did get political, it wasn't even political. It was a tweet. They nearly cancelled him. That's the climate we're in. So imagine Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's trying to get. That's why he got attacked. He was coming. He was coming for a certain. And people don't know about Dave. Is like, because it's not even just Dave. People that do the comedy gigs or that are comedians. You don't know their lives. You don't know like who they're around to know the jokes that they can tell or how far they can go. If you can't take it, then you shouldn't be there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We've come from a place where it used to be if I don't like something, I'm not gonna watch it. Now it's if I don't like it, nobody should watch it, and it's just like it doesn't work like that.
It's not fair.
Like I always think, do you think it's partly just because of our background as well that we can accept a little more? People say more fucked up. Because I always find like foreigners, maybe because we hear the way our parents would talk or even our uncle, people back home, they just say things so direct and so bluntly that we can take it. So when someone says it in a joke or in a podcast, we're like, that's not even that fucked up. Whereas a certain part of society, they're so isolated from certain things that when they have a bad day, it seems like it's the worst day ever. Yeah. Like I saw recently one guy put up a TikTok and he says, I told my mom I'm feeling very low and depressed, and the mom replied, can you please feel high for me? I'm like, that's the kind of response that like we are used to or accustomed to, that tough love. Like my dad was very big on tough love, and he will tell you as it is, and he'll tell you straight, and he'll make messed up jokes, and you kind of like, you just, okay, that's what the environment I'm used to. So when I'm hearing comedians, I'm hearing like Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, I'm like, these are like my dad's political takes, just covered in humor. Yeah. Do you know that kind of way? Literally. So maybe it makes it easier for us to digest. I don't know. That's what I wanted to ask.
I just think it's character building. When, especially like you said, tough love, saying it bluntly, saying it direct. Like, if you sugarcoat it, you're diluting it for that other person, and then that means you're saying that other person isn't capable of understanding what you're saying. So if you say it directly and you accept it and you deal with it in your own way rather than reacting, then it just shows you have character. But I think people that not easily offended, but that take offense to everything, they need some character.
But I think it's just we've gone to this place here, and it's kind of like people want to accept everything, and it's kind of like everybody should be accepted, every feeling should be accepted, everything should be this and that, and it's kind of like I can see there's definitely, like, I'm not gonna lie, 90s, 2000s, we did some fucked up shit.
Oh,
granted. Do you get what I'm saying? But not everything is fucked up. Do you get what I mean? Like, because it's kind of like, okay, where do we stop accepting people? Do you get what I'm saying? Because, like, okay, at one point we didn't accept people were gay. Come, be gay, do your thing. At one point we didn't accept people were this. At one point we didn't accept people were that. But then it's gonna keep going to a point because, like, at one point we're like, you say you're identifying as a woman, but you're a man. But
now you want to participate in the line is when you want to. Now I'm actually seeing the line. I'm sorry to cut you off. Now the line is like, okay, you want to identify. Oh, not just because you identify, you want to play in women's sport as a man. Now everybody's like, okay, but now we have to drop. Now it's
but that's
feel how you want, but the truth is you can't participate there.
But the thing is now there's going to be someone that's going to be like, you can't tell me that because that's against my rights, and then they're going to push the line again, and then now it's going to be like, okay, what happens when it's like, remember when the whole Caitlyn Jenner thing happened? It's like, oh, you might be going to jail, and are they going to send Caitlyn Jenner to a men's prison or a female prison? Do you know what I'm saying? Anyways. Are you going to send Caitlyn Jenner to a men's prison or a female prison kind of situation? Because if I get locked up and I tell you I identify as a woman, you can't send me there. I identify as a woman.
Did you not see
are you not going to send me? What are you going to send me? Do you get what I'm saying? And because there will be, I guarantee you, though, I could find people to fight, like to fight for my cause.
No, you definitely could, but I think there's always like we've gone to the overcorrection. I'm hoping now with the example I gave with the sports, I'm like, okay, we're starting to go back a little bit more because even Trump came out recently and he made a joke. He's like, LeBron, I don't like you, but if you like me and you want to identify with women, I'll come play for my sport. It become to a point where people are, okay, we're obviously taking the piss now. The guy gets arrested since identifies as a woman. Well, it's a cop out, and it was like, oh, trial me or identify as a whatever. Trial me as this. I think it's gonna.
But then also, what happens when because the same way you can't tell me that if I'm coming and I'm identifying as a woman and you have to now address me as a woman, right? What if a 16-year-old goes, I identify as a 21-year-old, give me that shot. But you can't tell me that I can't do that now.
I agree, but that's why I think there's going to be no correction because the people will take the piss. Like if you're watching the Amber Heard case,
because it's law. Like you can't get alcohol until you're 21.
Yeah, but the same thing is like, okay, if
is it law though?
What it's not, but there's certain things that might not be law, but it's strict.
I hear you. I'm just trying to find because I've been hearing what you're saying, but I think a lot of this is political, man. Like it's. Not that we'll never know the proper ins and outs, but straight away, do you guys remember Caster Semenya?
Yeah, the runner.
They basically forced her out of the sport because they thought she was a man, but she was a woman with high levels of testosterone.
They were making it suppress it, while they're letting man compete with women, like because she identifies as a woman.
Flip side, Serena Williams. Didn't they try and make her do like drug? Don't they like heavily drug test her and like assimilate her to a man? But she's not a man. But whereas these other guys are given the free license to, pick and choose the orientations depending on whether it's age or whatever. For me, I just think a lot of this is very political in the sense like there's a lot of backward deals and especially like a lot of these things are communities and these communities have legs, they have power, which is why the Dave Chappelle thing, I wouldn't put it past that, it was organized. But yeah, man, I agree with you there that it is setting a dangerous precedent. Like, you can just say, because I'm 16, but I identify as 21. That's what's allowing people to do because they're seeing, this guy was a man yesterday, as now is a woman, and he has this different opportunities. I want those same opportunities, or I want different opportunities to the one I'm currently in. It's not political, but it's bigger than what we see on the surface level, in my opinion.
Do you guys have any conspiracy theories or believe anything about
aliens are real?
There is no way aliens aren't real. It's impossible that they're
so people don't believe that.
Like how self-centered do you have to be to think that when you watch those videos where it's like Earth, the sun, the other sun, we are less than a grain of sand.
Pull up then.
And wait, did you see pull up on him? You see that they're going to be sending nude pictures up into space?
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, first of all, come on.
They're saying, "Yo, come, we're here. There's life here."
But what do you guys have any other things? Because I hate the way people treat conspiracy theories.
I do love conspiracy. No, the best thing I like about conspiracy theories is when the points are slapping. Do you know some of these COVID conspiracies that about how they're breaking?
I
was sold.
The first time.
I was
5G. Who's 5G? What's 5G doing?
It's bad for the baby.
They're trying to control population control, but obviously we'll never know the truth. Because my thing, like, I enjoy the COVID.
I slightly believe the population control.
Yeah, I enjoy the COVID conspiracies, but my only thing, I was like, even if, it might be above some of the politicians that we know on the surface. Because I'm like, what's the benefit for them?
Yeah.
Like you're closing the economy.
Could be the aliens.
So there's probably aliens right here.
It could be the aliens.
So that's. Are you guys following the Amber Heard thing? Actually, let me ask you. Because I think
yes and no.
Yeah.
I was. But then the latest revelation of Johnny Depp's one, it kind of changed my perspective. I don't know if you saw the...
No, what happened?
I don't know what was released, but they basically didn't paint him in the best of light either.
Mm-hmm.
And it just made me conclude that they're both mad.
Yeah, no, they're definitely
They're both mad.
They're both definitely both mad.
The recording of what Amber Heard said, I don't think people are like paying attention to what she said.
Is that the one that she basically said, no one's gonna believe you? I'm a woman.
After chopping off his hand.
It's like
his finger, sorry.
And that's the when it goes the other way. The correction was like this, and now it's like now that she said that, people are gonna be like, it's just hurting them. Like that kind of recording. It's just
taken away from the
real issues.
But the thing is, obviously I wasn't there, and honestly I actually don't care. But
I hope you went there.
Like, it's probably just one of those situations where it's a fucked up situation both ways.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Where he did some shit, she did some shit, and
everybody's trying to one up each other now.
And the funny thing is, this is a defamation suit. This is not even against, like, it's more about an interview she gave, and she didn't even mention his name, but it was basically him. So it's a defamation suit, not that I'm taking you to court for abusing me. So that's why I'm like, this whole thing is a bit sketchy. And Americans love a good trial.
They love a good storyline.
Fuck,
like, look, like we keep saying, Jordan keeps saying it's all about storylines. Like, even look at the whole thing that's happening with Kim Kardashian, Ray J, and all them. It's like, look,
narrative.
It's
You've got to sell a narrative.
Let's actually talk about
Let's beef and sell narrative.
No, because this is the thing, right? Like, from day dot, there is no way that sex tape comes out and Ray J still has a career. Impossible.
Say that again?
There's no way that sex tape comes out the way that they said it comes out and Ray J still has a career.
That he leaked it and he dropped it. Yeah.
What? The family that just came with lawyers and shit. Like, your dad was a lawyer. I'm pretty sure they got lawyer friends that I will sue every little one wish penny that you got. do you get what I mean? Like, there is no way that you let that slide.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Like, and I always say, like, Ray J has to speak up, because if you don't tell your story, then whatever story they tell becomes the story. That becomes, and that's why remember when Kanye was moving like that, and you said like, if Kanye, I know people think Kanye's moving mad, but if he says nothing, whatever narrative they sell us is what becomes the story. So I'm glad, like, and even when I was watching The Last Dance, Michael Jordan's documentary, the GM, Jerry Croft, he was dead. And Stephen A was like, it doesn't sit well with me, because they painted this guy as to be the bad guy in the documentary. And that becomes a story now. Me watching this for the first time and not really following the career. That's my story. Jerry Croft was the bad GM that tried to stop Michael Jordan from winning. So when Ray just spoke up, and I was like, I'm glad he speaks up, because if you don't tell your story, someone's going to tell your story. And as Kanye was moving mad, when it comes to the Kardashians, if you don't tell your story, the story they tell is the story that they're going to tell.
I hear that, but like, for me, I hate explaining myself.
Bro,
if there's one thing in this world, man, I hate explaining myself. So for me, how I see it is, I explain myself to the people that I feel like need to understand what's happening. Like, and apart from anyone else, you be say, "Oh, did I heard you?" Say, "Swear, yeah, come."
Well, what Ray just said, I hear you, and if that's your like motive, like, I just need to explain myself to people I love, and I actually kind of agree with that. But he said this, told a story that he put a dildo in her ass while she was asleep. That makes you come across as a rapist to the world.
That's what come across. That's rapist.
Yeah, he's in the entertainment business also. Like he needs opportunities, and his money is based on people. So he needs people to like him so he can make money. If they are putting out stories that's actually going to affect your bottom line, and you still have kids to feed, you have got to correct that. If you're on a stage where like you're not like a rager, you don't need people to like it. You're not feeding your family through the opinions of people. Whatever story they tell, like, you know what, I'm gonna explain to my mom what it was. I don't need to explain to you. But in Ray J's case, Especially, it's like, yo, people are gonna think I'm out here. I just rape Kim Kardashian. That can affect my bottom line. I have to speak out on this.
No, yeah, I get that. Like,
based on the revelation of what Ray J said, what do you guys think of propaganda? Because when he said that, yeah, you have to deep. This sex tape was over 20 years, and in terms of the narrative that has been pushed for 20 years, I think he even said something about like keeping up with the Kardashians. That's pretty much kind of. We know reality TV, but a lot of it is scripted.
Yeah, I hate watching.
And if that's the Kardashians, everything that we're watching, everything that we're watching.
That's true. This
goes.
If that small family can create that big propaganda.
Do you know there's one guy, Rupert Murdoch?
COVID was from human population.
I'm joking. Rupert Murdoch owns probably 80% of the media in the world.
And they said, sorry to control. They said that's probably why Elon bought Twitter, because every news outlet before you click on the link on the New York Post, it comes from Twitter. So Twitter now is the biggest control of news outlets. So he can control propaganda perfectly.
First of all, buy Twitter stuff.
Shameless plug.
I'm not gonna lie to you. What a quick little thing. No, but like I don't like this. This is why I don't like the way people talk about people that have conspiracy theories. Because, all right, once you start learning about how this world really fucking works, life starts becoming crazy. Like, okay, so marketing is a crazy thing. I don't think people understand the level of how marketing comes around. So there's two things that I heard across my lifetime, whatever, that is kind of like, okay, this is mad. No, three. So how they made smoking popular. What they did, right? They got a bunch of attractive people, a bunch of attractive women and stuff like that, and put them on corners smoking, and put like
even on the ads,
posters,
sexy.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Cool people smoke. That's what you do. It's attractive. Everybody starts smoking, and that's how you get it. That's how you get the thing popping. Do you get what I'm saying? Diamonds aren't fucking rare. Diamonds aren't rare. It's just they control how much they control how much of them go around. So it's kind of like, this thing is rare, and then they make it diamonds are a girl's best friend.
You have to make it appear scarce for people to want it.
Exactly.
That's what someone on a podcast said. That they said if you told people we only have 50 vaccines, more people would have gotten it. Because you told them we don't have enough of these vaccines, you need to get it. But if you told people there's so many, everybody go get one. Hey, you get donuts if you get one.
That's what
you get chicken if you get one. I don't want donuts. If you told us there's not enough, everybody will get one.
There's an English brand, Cortez or whatever. So apparently what happened was this guy made his website and he put a password on the website. So you couldn't buy stuff on the website unless you have the password. Now everyone's like, where'd you get the password?
Exclusivity.
Look, give me the password. Give me the password. Give me the password. And then but that's what everybody just wants to feel like.
Exclusive.
You're
special. You're special.
The next one, what's called how what's called like bacon became a part of the healthy breakfast. So I can't remember who the guy
what? Who said that? Bacon's healthy?
No, like what's called it's a part of a balanced breakfast. You know that thing is like sausage, bacon, all that.
Full breakfast.
Yeah, it's part of a full breakfast. So the pork industry went to this marketer or whatever, and it's like, we want to start selling more pork, like we want to like get this industry popping. And he's like, you know what, start selling it that it's part of a full balanced breakfast. And that's how bacon and sausages and everything is like, oh, that's what you eat for breakfast, isn't it? Do you get what I'm saying? And it's like, people don't understand that. Yes, people are like, oh, conspiracy theories, blah, blah, but somebody is thinking that way. And that's how you're doing certain things to this day. Do you get what I'm saying? And people don't want to see that there's a high level of analysis going on here. And even certain things like, I don't particularly believe in science. And everyone looks at me like I'm crazy for that. Because science, no, this is it, right? Science is just, okay, a bunch of people saying, this is what we're going with, yeah? Cool.
No, it's not.
I was going to say, you're a scientist. That's your point, man.
I always hear this on like 90s Babies and Fred is just talking about theories, and I'm like, the thing is, I didn't even do science to the highest level.
Yeah.
But there's some theories, and they tell you the test. They show you the experimentation. I'm like, they'll tell you, see this kind of Coke here? If you put it in the pressure chamber, it'll squeeze it, and then the pressure goes and it'll crush.
That's cool.
So I'm listening to, for example, how do you even know there's pressure? Like there, your ears pop when you're up there because they change the pressure. So if you go up any higher, how do you know it's pressure that makes your ear go?
What the fuck do you mean? How do you know?
No. Genuinely, no.
Because
take away the fact that my question sounds stupid for a second.
Okay.
But how do you know that
there
it's
is instruments that they made? If you want to believe this instrument, that's that's up to you. But there's definitely instruments that measure pressure and pressure levels. And in these instruments, there's cans of Coke, and they change. If I have a can of Coke and I change the pressure in my hands, what happens? And it's empty. It squeezes. There's literally experiments that you're seeing.
This is thing. I'm not saying everything.
Okay.
Like I'm not saying absolutely everything.
Yeah, because some things are theories, and theories can be questioned.
Do you get what I'm saying? Fair. And some things that we take as fact, like look, for the fact that there was a point in the world where someone was like, the world is flat, and the guy that said no, it's not flat, it's round, and they called him crazy. And then now it's like, oh, actually, you know what? He was right. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay. Purely because of that fact, I can't take any shit. I can't take shit. No. Even the fact that the fucking atlas that we know it, the atlas apparently as we know it, is wrong.
Apparently
and
so.
It's wrong.
Hey, theories. No. Theories can be questioned because they are only theories, and theories get disproved all the time. If someone says I have a theory, they're not telling you I know this. Okay. Like even if I say I have a theory, I think COVID was human-made, like man-made thing. That's just a theory. That's not. I'm not even saying that's a fact. So if a scientist has a theory, you can go question it, but you have to debunk it.
Okay.
But if it's not even debunked. There's certain things that they've done experimentation over and over.
Look how you get no passionate about science.
Like even paracetamol to cure headaches. They're not. They even tell you. They tell you even the vaccine. They tell you 95% efficacy of paracetamol. So you can be like, I took paracetamol before, it didn't work. Yes, it's not going to work every time, but there's a 98% time that it will work.
This is the thing. I'm not saying that there aren't things that are facts, right?
Okay.
Like there are certain things that are probably facts. Like look, if I do this and I drop it, it's gonna.
Yeah, gravity, for example.
Do you know what I'm saying? Gravity is a thing. Yeah. Like I'm not saying that, right? But like people act like just because something has been there for so long, it's that's it. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's like no. Someone literally just said we're doing that, and now everyone is like, that's what we're going to do for the rest of our lives. And if you think otherwise, you're stupid and like you're dumb. And it's like, not really. Somebody had to think outside. Like literally think about it this way. Yeah, there was a point in time that someone was like, you know what we're going to do, lads? We're going to get a bunch of metal, put it together, and we're going to fly people over the fucking ocean. Everyone's gonna look at that person like they're crazy. Like, are you dumb? But nothing exists until it exists. Do you know what I'm saying?
Isn't that that's example? Isn't that an example of how science works? Like we can just someone did it and then they did that. And you can fly from here to England in an hour. Is that a proof that science works?
Science and engineering. I'm not saying that it doesn't work at every single.
Oh, you can. You can obviously you can debunk theories and question theories.
Like I take everything with a grain of salt, pretty much.
That's fair.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I think that's the best way to say it. Because
that's fair.
In this world, man, if I tell you some of the things I've seen and heard, it doesn't make sense. Like in terms of science can't defy that.
My dad is a doctor, and sometimes some illnesses get cured or people find a way. But obviously, because he's a doctor, but he's also a spiritual person, and he comes home and he tells my mom that one was just God. Because that person, there's no science to actually prove it. There's no medical. He's like, he's a doctor and he's been a doctor all his life. He'll come home and tell my mom, this girl fell on the horse, blah blah, this way, blah neck. Nah, she should have been dead, but she's gonna walk tomorrow. Like she's looking at the injuries. He's like, how are you alive? And science, there's obviously science doesn't have the answer.
Can I ask you a question?
You can't disprove everything.
Based on that, since you said you don't believe in all science
until now.
You don't believe in all science. Can I ask what you do believe in? Do you believe in like spirituality and all that stuff?
All right. So how I see the world, right? Like forget about religion, forget about everything. I feel like there is power. I don't know what it is, but there's a certain power, and everybody can access it.
Everybody?
Yes, everybody, but not everybody knows how to. So some people, the way they have to access it is through Jesus.
Wait. Sorry.
Go ahead.
There's power. Everyone has access to it, but how can you have access to something you don't know exists?
You can have power. You can have just
you
because
Doctor Strange this week?
Wait, what's it called? The absence. Yes, I did.
That's like
no.
My things were in the multiverse.
No. This is something I've thought.
Did you watch it?
The
little girl, she had power. She didn't know access.
She's going in and around.
She didn't know how to access her power.
What's called the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. So just because it's not there doesn't mean that. Just because there's a lot of things that people don't know that they don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like there is a power. I don't know what the fuck it is. There's some sort of power that's there, and everybody has access to it. However, not everybody knows how to get access to it. So certain people have to use different talismans to get to it. For some people, it might be Jesus. For some people don't believe that they have power within themselves to make things happen. Do you get what I'm saying? Like some people, they sit there and I say, this is gonna happen, and they believe it so much that somehow it happens. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, have you ever actually thought about this? Right? One day you sat there and you said, you know what? I want a house one day with a corner couch and I'm gonna get
TV on the wall
and a TV on the wall.
Yeah,
And look at that. That was a thought. It started off as a thought. Through power, you made it happen. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like if religion didn't exist, so many people would kill themselves.
Oh my God. My friend went to Niger. Sorry to cut you off. No, my friend went to Niger and he lived in 2 years. He says, what religion does for Niger, if people didn't know that there's God and life gets better after this, what is to stop them from having chaos? Because I live in such poverty, and the only thing I believe is every Sunday, if I go up here, my life will either A, get better, and if it doesn't and I die, I'll be rewarded. If you take that away from people,
they have nothing to live for.
They will see a big compound and be like, why am I suffering? If I can just go there and take and live that life. So in the same way I was talking about religion gives community, probably more so in Europe, back home, like I always talk about my mom. When she was 16, she finished, like she couldn't go to college, she finished secondary school. She just said she turned to God. And getting older, I understand. I'm like, imagine 16 and feeling like your life is hopeless. Like, what am I gonna do
at 16,
for the rest of my life? So you just turn, I'm gonna turn to God. And her life, like, she married a doctor and she's here, whatever. I'm like, you cannot look at that woman and tell her that God doesn't exist, because she will look at her life and be like, I did nothing, and look at my life turned out. And if that concept of religion doesn't exist back home, a lot of people will probably kill themselves, or there'll be anarchy.
Facts.
There'll be anarchy. I think so. I was actually growing up as a pastor's son. I was one of the religious person on the podcast.
It was, how would I say? It was funny enough. I was talking about it on Saturday at a conference. It was very challenging in the sense that I didn't get the concept of religion, or like all of us, we were, I would say, forced. In the sense like, oh, go to church on Wednesday, go to church on Friday, go to church on Saturday, go to church on Sunday. And, well, maybe that's the life of pastor's kid, sorry. And it's like, it takes away from the things that you want to do, like football.
You're a baller. I played with you once.
Thanks, bro.
But he's a really is. He plays like Aguero.
But like, and I don't want to get into that because I was very passionate about football, but because church was on Sunday, matches on Sunday, I had to choose. I didn't even have a choice. I didn't have a choice. It got so deep. My managers used to come almost every Sunday to beg my mom to come play. So that aside, seeing them at home and then seeing them in church was like seeing two different people.
Okay.
So that was not two different people.
Yeah, just different sides of them.
Different sides of them. And it was tough mentally to, like, especially growing up as an only child. I'm an only child. And, it's a lot of pressure because I'm sure you say narrative, oh, you're a pastor's son, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that.
There's also a narrative that the pastor's children are the worst.
That part might be true, but no, not even. Like, I just see it as we're all like human beings. Like, we're all just trying to know life for ourselves. But when it comes to being a pastor's child, there's just an extra level of laser focus on you as to be the poster child. Even if other members' kids are bad, they still see you and you have to be different. You have to teach them how to be good. It's like, nah, teach your own child how to be good. That's not my job. But it's a lot of sacrificing as well for time. When I used to see you, man, go to rights, go to all these motives, man's in choir practice with all these aunties, like. But it taught me resilience, it taught me patience, it taught me discipline, it taught me a lot of things about myself that when I did eventually, decide this ain't for me right now, I wasn't overwhelmed with the, I don't want to say outside life, but like in terms of just culture. And it didn't derail me from my relationship with God, because that's one thing being a pastor's kid kind of taught you, that if you don't do things a certain way, you're not gonna make heaven, or you're not good enough, or that kind of narrative. So it took a while for me to like break that. But I won't lie, being a pastor's kid does have its advantages. I'm not gonna lie, you go to a couple of places because they know your parents. Heritage on Sunday, someone gave me €30. I was complaining about the price. I only paid €20 because someone gave me 30 because they knew my parents, and it comes with those kind of perks. But bro, I don't lie, I should be in England in Division 2 right now. Division 1.
Wait, genuine question, yeah. Do you find it weird when people call your parents like mommy and daddy?
Yeah, it's good. That's the best question you've ever asked on the podcast.
Because
that's the best question you've ever asked on the podcast.
That's actually a good question.
Yes.
That's a good question. I see the tweets. But maybe because I'm used to it, I'm a bit desensitized to it that I don't really care.
Because you probably heard it all your life, so it doesn't. Yeah.
Especially as young, like they even coined the term. So my mom's a woman, like so my dad would be pastor, and then they call my mom Mommy P, as in the mommy pastor, but then they shortened it to Mommy P. And God rest her soul, the woman that coined that for my mom, she's passed now, but she was pretty cool. So I was like, oh, that's cool. But then that kind of kicked on, and then that's the name. But in terms of how I feel, even if I don't really hear it when they're around, like, that's their business.
Yeah, because I always find that shit weird. I'm like, you're a grown ass man.
Because we also sexualize those words, daddy, and it's for some reason like
daddy,
yeah.
Like what? What are you doing?
You're a grown ass man.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet or a TikTok recently, and one guy was saying happy birthday to his pastor, and he was saying happy birthday, daddy, and then I was just like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's weird. It's kind of weird. Daddy one, yeah, okay, there, I can say that one is a bit weird, but because maybe it's the same Mommy P, maybe that one is a bit different, and maybe my relationship with my mom. But yeah, when I heard daddy, it's like, I don't even call him
because
dad.
my thing is like it's just like sometimes people take like the pastor as the all-knowing guy, and it's like, bro, any problem you have, hey, daddy, I have a headache today.
Not the headache.
It's like you know, like
there's doctors.
There's
shit. Or the worst is like they come with the marital problems. Like, bro, therapy is literally just like what is he's having issues with this, man. You're coming to him.
I actually wanted
like,
to ask that. It's like obviously because he was a pastor in the church, but we all get older. We see our parents as more human.
Yeah.
But you had like that double part where you're seeing a pastor and your parent as a human with all these flaws and like.
Oh, it was
that must
a
be kind of
lot.
strange.
It was bro. If I tell you now that like during COVID, I had to. That's why I moved back to Goa to fix my relationship with my dad, because there was a lot of that in the sense, seeing someone with their flaws and seeing them not in their flaws and how like on other people they only see him 2 days for 2 hours. I see him every other time, so I'm seeing all different sides. So that analogy that you used of people calling him for like issues and shit, it's like, the fuck's he gonna do? Like, let's say you're watching a match like and you get a call and then he has to like run out, like, bro, like you're just watching football, now you have to go deal with marital issues and all this stuff.
You're talking as if like they chat as if like God is whispering in the ear, as it's like, tell him this, tell him to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's just like
it's techie though, because on the spirituality side, especially growing up with it, I've seen some instances where they've helped. As in a lot of cases, let me not even like they've helped. But it's like on the other side of those people calling, it's like there's other people you could have called apart from them. And that's, God whispering in their ear thing. Man, I don't lie, I've battled that so many times, but I've just come to the conclusion, like, look, whatever it's their relationship with God. I hear God my way.
Yes.
If they hear God their way, that's cool. And we're sitting here dissecting it, but the people that are looking for a solution to their problem, if they got the solution,
I guess that's
it's win-win for them, innit?
Yeah.
Like,
that's fair enough.
okay, wait. As a kid, obviously only child and that. Do you ever feel like? Do you ever get angry at your dad for having to run out to deal with someone else's problem? And it's like, bro, I kind of need you right now.
That's why I said I had to go home. Like, let me open floor. But like, yeah, man, definitely, because that's one of the things I brought up to him. Is like, I'm a big man now, and I do podcasts. Don't even ask about that. Like,
my dad asked me about the pod. I was looking at him. I was like, what? All my life was school, do well, do school. Now it's like, man's like, oh, talking about the pod. What do you do? Do you put it on YouTube? I'm like, it was honestly a foreign feeling because extracurricular activities he never cared about. He never came to. I'm not even mad at him. He never came to football games. He came to award ceremony at the school. My brother won a maths award. He was gassed. Any award that was in music, football, whatever. He says, why are we only winning extracurricular activities? He didn't care. So for him to come and tell him, like, what do you do? What do you guys talk about? You put it on YouTube. Is it good? Do you enjoy it? I'm like, why is this man talking on my podcast?
You know why? Because you're making bread now.
I think that
you're a man. He sees you as a man. That's one thing I realized as well. That I noticed that. Then he started, because then he started seeing. I don't lie. I told big man, I don't need you for anything. bro. Like I make my own peas. I think that kind of settled in his head that okay, I actually have to try now. And when you talk about like growing up as an only child, maybe because he had his own shit to deal with in like work, church, all that shit. So I kind of understood. But now, like you said, all these extracurricular activities apart, like I'm working, but now I'm doing other things. So you're like, oh, you're actually I've done well. But
once you're settled in, I always say it's like I try to see it from their side. I'm like, you came here with no connections, you knew nobody, so you had to make sure I was set. You couldn't be like play football because you're taking a risk. There's such a little chance of making it. But you knew if I went to school, studied engineering, I could earn at least 40K a year, and I'm grand.
Question for you guys: what our parents did coming here? Do you guys think you could do that? Like leave?
Remember when you said
leave?
Then you said something about this. You don't think you can, and then until you can. You don't think you can, but if you had to, you could.
You reckon?
I think so.
Caveat: I think most people.
I don't think a lot of people can just up and leave where they are and start a new life with where they know. Like, not even we're in Ireland. Let's say someone from Canada.
You don't even listen. You don't speak
Canada goes to Romania.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think that was like that for a lot of them. And it's not even, there's Nigerians around the world. But it's like Ireland 25 years ago, or like 30 years